So let's us express our gratitude for our guest speaker, Jeff Mazzacatani.
Good morning. Good morning. I have a text message. Sorry, excuse me. I'll slide that over there. I am so grateful to be back here in Salt Lake with all of you. I had such a fabulous time last spring. It was kind of spring. It was kind of spring. And now it's this beautiful fall. And yeah, this morning when I saw the snow, I was talking with my partner Ed and I said, WTF? What the flake? Yeah, so I got to wake up this morning and immediately practice gratitude. Gratitude for the individual, beautiful expressions of each individual flake, because each individual flake is a divine expression of the one. And it's individual, it's unique, just like we are. Each one of us is that individual snowflake, if you will, to continue the metaphor, a divine expression of the one. How beautiful and magnificent is that? So I immediately got to practice gratitude. And I immediately got to practice, okay, I'm good with it being here this morning, but as we're driving back to Vegas this afternoon, it needs to go. So, we got plans to go to IKEA and we need to get through the passes. Okay. So this morning, Reverend Marty had invited me to come speak to you this morning before Ed and I realized that this is also the 50th anniversary of the building that houses Center for Spiritual Living Greater Las Vegas. And so we are very grateful and blessed to be with you here and knowing that they're having a fabulous celebration down there as well. So Reverend Marty gave me the talk title. He said, The Rekindled Spark. I'm like, okay. And he gave me the quote, which is somewhere, I believe, in your programs, from Albert Schweitzer, and he says, do with it what you want, toss it out, I usually do. So I chose not to. I chose to go ahead and look at it and see what kind of inspiration came through. So the talk title that he gave is The Rekindled Spark, and like I said, it comes from the quote from Albert Schweitzer. And the quote reads this: At times our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us. Beautiful, right? Except I take an issue with the good doctor. Our light can never go out. He says at times our light goes out. Our light can't go out. It's impossible for our light to go out, because what is our light? Our light is the divine. Our light is the light of God, living, moving, breathing, and having its being in, through, and as me, and as each one of you. God is eternal. Light is eternal. Energy is eternal. It changes forms, yes, but it's eternal. That light is the energy, the essence of all life, of all creation, both seen and unseen, manifest and yet to manifest. What is it? Our pre-gratitude? Yeah. It is that very essence of who we are. So our light can't go out. Now, we can certainly hide that light under a bushel. We can deny the light is there. We can try covering it up with a bunch of blankets and shoving it, and trying to pretend it doesn't exist. But our light never goes out, ever goes out. It's impossible for it to do so. Now, sometimes when we are experiencing those times when we're not feeling like the light is burning really, really brightly for ourselves, what we find is that we're actually in a sense of separation. We're in a sense of separation from the one. But we know that we can't ever be separated from the one because we are the one. But we begin to see a sense of duality, us and them, good and bad, that pair of opposites, that duality. And when we focus on that, when we focus on that material world, on the world of effect, then it's very easy for us to feel that the light or that spark within us is only a flicker. And what we're called to do in those times is to remember. To remember the who of who we are. And we can do that for ourselves. We don't need somebody else to do that for us. We can do that for ourselves. And then most definitely there are times when, I need some assistance here. And I turn to a friend or a family member or a practitioner or a minister. I turn to a beloved and allow them to remember for me who I am and to remind me of my own magnificence, to remind me that the spark lives within me. And that's a wonderful thing too. Sometimes that dark night of the soul when everything is feeling heavy and weighted down and my light is just barely flickering, that's that dark night of the soul. And it's something that, as we're walking our path, as we're walking our spiritual path, it's something to remember that we don't need to rush through that experience. That experience is rich in the opportunity for growth, for spiritual magnificence to come forth. Think of the seed. When you plant a seed into the ground, you plant it and you cover it. It sits there in darkness. Then it germinates in darkness. And then, through the law of the universe, we don't know how, it suddenly springs forth. This new life form, this new creation wanting to be birthed and birthing and coming through in all of its magnificence and glory. This is the dark night of the soul. It's the dark night. For that little seed, that being in the dirt can feel like a dark night. So Ernest Holmes, the founder of Centers for Spiritual Living, says this: the suggestion of separation and materiality smothers but cannot extinguish the divine spark. When we touch the original cause, our strength is renewed. The transcendent vision illuminates the consciousness. Our life should become a continuous communion with good. The communion of the soul with its source fans the spark of faith into a divine blaze in whose light dark shadows no longer lurk. This is inspiration. This is illumination. This is the perception of wholeness. This is the perception of wholeness. This is the illumination. A constant communion. Living in communion as the one, with the one. And so what are a few ways that we can remind ourselves, that we can rekindle our own spark, that we can live in communion as the one? Gratitude. Gratitude is one of the best ways I know to reignite that spark within me, to call me back to center when I'm feeling off kilter, like this morning. My first place to go was to gratitude. Meister Eckhart says, if the only prayer you ever say is thank you, that is enough. So as Reverend Linda mentioned, gratitude has been one of my primary spiritual practices. In fact, it was my first spiritual practice, really, that I was consciously aware of, and I was not yet involved in Centers for Spiritual Living. I was a flight attendant for Northwest Airlines, and one Thanksgiving, we laid over in Madison, Wisconsin. Lovely city, Madison. It's beautiful. And we stayed at the Howard Johnson's downtown. Not so beautiful. And it was Thanksgiving. And the only thing open in Madison, Wisconsin on Thanksgiving was a Chinese restaurant. A Chinese restaurant that makes Panda Express look like gourmet Chinese. And I was like, wow, this is Thanksgiving dinner, And on the TV, Lord God Oprah was on TV. Love her. Oprah was on TV, and it was a rerun of Oprah because it's Thanksgiving. She had it off. I was working. She had it off. But it was Oprah, and it was the episode where she had introduced Sarah Von Braunach. And Sarah Von Braunach, in case you didn't know or you forgot who she might be, she's the one that came up with the gratitude journal and was talking about the gratitude journal. And so the whole thing that day was about Thanksgiving. And wow, Spirit was speaking to me in that moment. And I didn't realize that that's what it was at the time. I just was open and receptive to, like, what is the message here? And Sarah was saying that, thinking of 5 things a day and being grateful for 5 things a day will change your life. I'm like, well, cool. I'm like, and me being the overachiever is like, I'm not going to do 5. I got to do at least 10. And that day I wrote pages and pages and pages of things I was grateful for. I was like, wow, how amazing is my life? And that really set me, I was already traveling on the spiritual path, but that really set me on this spiritual path in that moment. It was a pivotal moment for me of realizing gratitude. And so in that moment, I committed to keeping a gratitude journal. And so every night before I would go to bed, I was grateful for what I would write down, what I was grateful for that day. I was grateful for, I'm grateful that. Never I'm grateful to, but I'm grateful for, I'm grateful that. Right? I'm grateful for the blessings. I'm grateful that I had this experience. And that began to shift my life. And every day became a game, and it was so much fun because I was practicing the presence without knowing I was practicing the presence. I was practicing the presence because every day I was looking for something to be grateful for rather than looking for something to complain about. Every day was like the search for ooh, what can I be grateful for today? Wow, that was something, wow. And so every moment of every day became an opportunity for gratitude, an opportunity for thanksgiving. Sometimes it was really obvious, things to be grateful for. And then sometimes it was well, I committed to 10, and I've got 2. It's going to be a long night. And yet I would always get 10. I'd always get 10. And so one of the things about this that, when I was struggling to, and still sometimes when I struggle to find those things to be grateful for, when I really need to rekindle the spark, if you will, I would take one thing, and I would take it and take it back and take it back and take it back and take it back and be grateful for all of it. So an example, my fabulous sweater, thank you. I get compliments on it all the time. All the time. And I'm so grateful. Rick mentioned it this morning. He hugged me and was like, welcome back. I love your sweater. Thanks for giving it to me. And I'm like, oh no. But every time I wear it, I get all these compliments on this fabulous sweater that was a gift from a friend. It was a gift. Her boyfriend had given it to her. They broke up, and she didn't want her new boyfriend to realize that, she still had the old guy's sweater, and so she gave it to me, and he didn't know, and, every time I wear it, I always think of, that, and so it's just a funny little thing, and it makes me laugh, and I'm so grateful every time somebody says, I love your sweater. I'm like, thanks, because I think of that. So the sweater, right? So I'm grateful for the sweater, and I'm grateful for the cotton that it's made out of, and I'm grateful for the seed that was the cotton, the seed that grew into the cotton. I'm grateful for the sun, and I'm grateful for the rain, and I'm grateful for the farmer, and I'm grateful for planting the seed and for, tending to the crops, and then harvesting it, and then it being shipped off to then be for the cotton gin that pulls the seeds out, and for the guy who created the cotton gin and the consciousness that created the cotton gin, and, way back there. And then I'm grateful for the people that designed it, and the consciousness and the creativity that designed it, and the beauty that it shows up as. And I'm grateful, that my friend gave it to me. And it can go back and back and back and back. I'm grateful for all of it. And when I go back, it's like I'm grateful for the beauty, God quality. I'm grateful for the creativity, God quality. It allows me to get into that sense of gratitude. So in every moment of every day, there's the opportunity to be grateful, even if it's just for something like a sweater. I'm certainly grateful for the elastic in my pants right now. Because I'm grateful for the bag of candy that the kids didn't eat on Halloween. Always buy the one you like. Okay. And something to be grateful for here. What a fabulous, look at this building that you all have built together. Community put together. Wow. Last time I was here, you were at the Columbus Center. You were sitting on some pretty hard chairs. Look at these magnificent chairs you guys have now. That's definitely something to be grateful for, right? And you don't have to set up and you don't have to break down anymore like you did and, church in a box kind of thing. What a wonderful, wonderful thing you've created here. So something to be grateful for. Magnificent. So it's the small things. And when we see the small things and we can appreciate the small things and we can be grateful for the small things, we begin to live a life of thanksgiving. We begin to live from that place, from that consciousness of thanksgiving. I want to share with you a quote from Joel Goldsmith. He talks about thanksgiving in this way. Spiritually understood, thanksgiving cannot be confined to a day, a week, or even a month. Thanksgiving is a state of consciousness, and it has to become a permanent state. We, as spiritual students, must realize that there cannot be a minute of the day or night when somewhere within us there isn't a giving of thanks, a recognition or acknowledgement of the spiritual source and activity of all being. I can't conceive of living long without our eyes seeing some form of beauty, some form of supply, some form of nature, some form of good, without there welling up inside a deep sense of thanks for the fullness of creation. Abundance, it's right in front of us all the time, if we only open our eyes to see it. In all things give thanks, the master teacher said. In all things give thanks. Everything. And when we live from that place of gratitude, we are coming into a conscious alignment, a conscious union with the one, as the one. And we recognize that it is the spirit within expressing without, expressing outward. When you discover the I in the midst of you, he writes, there is no wishing or praying to be done. There is just a life of thanksgiving. It is never necessary to ask for anything you need, because the nature of the kingdom is omniscience, the all-knowing. It needs no assistance or help, because it is omnipotence. And it is not necessary that you go anywhere to get it, because it's omnipresence. This way, we live under grace, living in the conscious union. When we see all of the things before us, and all of the things within us, and all of the experiences, and we're grateful for each and every one, and we live that life of thanksgiving, live that life of gratitude, we live under grace. And God's grace is our sufficiency in all things. We seek first the kingdom of God, and all things are added. And we express our gratitude. Ernest Holmes writes, as divinity is awakened in the individual, the divine spark shoots forth from the central flames of the universal flame and warms other souls in the flow of its own self-realization. So as we live in alignment and we rekindle our own spark, that spark shines forth. As we fan the flames of our own divinity, that shines forth. And we become a light and a beacon for others. And sometimes, as I mentioned earlier, it's hard to see that light for ourselves. It's hard to see that light within our own being. And so we do lean on others. We turn to our friends, we turn to our family, we turn to our teachers and our mentors. Those people that inspire us, those people that support us, those people that fan our flames, those people that just bring forth the best in us. We turn to them for support. For me, I turn to my partner Ed, my practitioner Audrey, my friend Myrna. They hold me accountable, and they also love and support and fan the flame when I can't do it for myself, or when I don't think. I can always do it for myself, but when I don't think I can do it for myself. And then there are those people in our lives, the difficult ones, the challenging ones. You know who they are. Everybody's got them. And we need to be grateful for these folks too, because while kindle or rekindle means to inspire, it also means to stir up, right? It also means to ignite, right? So when we have these wonderful beloveds who present opportunities for growth, shall we say, that's what it is. It's an opportunity for growth, and it truly is. And for that, we give thanks. For those beloveds who really push us to be more authentic in our own life. We have the opportunity in that moment to give thanks. So, with what Albert Schweitzer was saying in the beginning, in the quote there, we're grateful for those who rekindle the flame. And we're grateful for those who rekindle the flame. So in this moment, I'd like for you to join me, and let's just all take a collective breath together. And be grateful for that breath. For that breath is the breath of God breathing each and every one of us. And if you feel comfortable, I invite you to close your eyes for a moment. And bring to mind somebody or someone who has lit your spark, who has fanned your flame. Someone who has inspired you. And allow these words to express your gratitude. I love you not only for who you are, but for who I am when I am with you. I love you not only for what you have made of yourself, but for what you are making of me. I love you for that part of me that you bring out. I love you for putting your hand into my heaped up heart and passing over all the foolish, weak things that you can't help dimly seeing there. And for drawing out into the light all the beautiful belongings that no one else had quite looked far enough to find. I love you because you are helping me make of the lumber of my life not a tavern, but a temple. Out of the works of my everyday, not a reproach, but a song. I love you because you have done more than any creed could have done to make me good, and more than any fate could have done to make me happy. You have done it without a touch, without a word, without a sign. You have done it by being yourself. And quietly in your own heart, tell this beloved thank you. And once again together, let's allow ourselves to be breathed. And bring to mind a person who challenges you, a person with whom you've had difficulty. And allow these words to be spoken to them. I am grateful for who you are. And I am grateful for who I am. I am grateful for the part of me that you bring out. I am grateful for who I am, for who I am called to be in relationship with you. I am grateful because you are helping me to make out of the lumber of my life, not a tavern, but a temple. Out of the works of my everyday, not a reproach, but a song. And in your own heart, tell this beloved thank you. And allowing ourselves to be breathed one more time, I invite you to come back to this moment, to this time and this place. So what I invite you to do this week is to turn to a beloved or express to a beloved, thank you. Express your gratitude to them. Express your love. Tell them what a difference they've made in your life. Share it with them. Share your light. And if you haven't started keeping a gratitude journal or don't have a practice of gratitude, I invite you to start that. And if you already do have a practice of gratitude, I invite you to continue and to deepen it. And I also invite you, if at any time in your life you're feeling like your spark is dim, I invite you to get support from your beloved practitioners here at the center. Because when you forget, they're there to remember for you. That is who and what they are. It's what they've called, it's what they've said yes to being for you, for this community. To hold the light of the community, they are the light bearers. To hold the light of the community, to keep the fires burning in loving support of each and every one here. And so now I would like to invite the practitioners and the practitioner interns and the ministers serving this community and any other Center for Spiritual Living to please stand and circle the community as we move into prayer. Every day, these beloveds are in prayer for you and in prayer for this community. Seek them out. And so here and now, I speak a word of gratitude. Gratitude for my own awareness of the power and the presence of the one life, the one that simply is, the one life, the one light, the one love. For truly, God is all that there is, and it is this one. In the beginning, God and nothing else. In the beginning, the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And from itself, through itself, as itself, it created all life, both seen and unseen, formed and formless. It is the abundance of each leaf of the trees that are turning such beautiful colors here. And it is the beauty It is the infinite creativity and magnificence of each snowflake. It is that which simply is, all that there is. For truly God is all that there is, and there is no other. And recognizing that God is all that there is, I recognize that I am that I am. The who of who I am is the fullness and allness and isness that simply is the power and presence of the one. I am the light. I am the love. I am the wave of the ocean, never separated from it, simply part of it, an individualized expression of it. And as I know that this is true of me, I know that this is true of each beloved here and each beloved whoever hears these words. For each is the divine emanation and impartation of absolute perfection, of wholeness, of fullness, of beauty, of abundance. Each is the magnificent, glorious presence made manifest here and now. So I gratefully and graciously speak my word of thanksgiving. Grateful for all that is. Grateful for the conscious union of my consciousness with and as the one. For I know that it is the Spirit within that lives my life, that lives, moves, and breathes, and has its being in, through, and as me, and in, through, and as each one here. I am grateful for the beauty manifested. I am grateful for the magnificence that manifests and expresses itself. I'm grateful for the abundance that simply is that infinite intelligence, that infinite wisdom, that is the divine order and right action and harmony and balance that is the universe. I'm grateful for its presence in my life. I am grateful to be that open, clear, transparent vessel through which it does its work. For it is not I that do the work, but it is the Spirit within. I'm grateful for my body temple that houses this magnificent light that I am. And I am grateful for my opportunity to be used and serve in a powerful way. I claim this and know this for myself, and I claim this and know this for each one present. And so I simply give thanks. Thanks for this conscious union. Thanks for the demonstration that has already been made. I simply release this word into the law, knowing that it is done, knowing that it is complete, knowing that nothing else need be added. For the kingdom and the kingdom is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. So I simply let it be. And so it is.